It's very nice to
It's
see
nice
you.
to meet you at long last, because I
Likewise.
don't know if you're aware of this. I do retweet an awful lot of your stuff. I think we only disagree with each other on, to some extent, on woke.
Yes,
And
possibly.
to some extent on Brexit, although I think you might not find me quite as I am portrayed in the media.
Interesting. I tend, and now you've dangled this maggot in front of me, I tend not to head into that sort of territory on the podcast because I do so much of it on the radio show, but I'm going to make a note to return at least to the Brexit stuff, if not the woke stuff, before the end of proceedings. Because I'm interested.
I'm happy to talk about everything except the England batting.
But yes, I can understand why. You should have. That was breathtaking, actually, breathtakingly awful. You say that you're happy to talk about anything, which is true, and I used to be a gossip columnist many moons ago. I was quite a nice one. You wouldn't have. You wouldn't have hated me, but you are. And then I was show business editor of the Daily Express. And you are in that category of famous British person who is newsworthy. Almost anything you do becomes newsworthy.
It is a little bit like that, yeah.
It must be a burden.
Yes, it is. It's boring.
Yes.
But I tell you, the greatest thing that ever happened to me was Twitter.
Right.
And I didn't realise what a gift from God it was until I was talking to Stephen Fry. And he said two things to me. He said, "You got to get on Twitter. There's two reasons. If you want to publicize something, you don't have to go through the newspapers and do a long interview in which they explain to the readers what an unsatisfactory human being you are, and then mention 3 paragraphs in the end that you've got a TV show coming up, you know." And then the other one, I've forgotten.
That would be the quid pro quo, and I mean, you're not exactly backwards in coming forwards when it comes.
Oh, no, because I mean, I'm not very frightened anymore. I was, for many years, I was as frightened as everyone else of the British press because they're completely unscrupulous. There's no fundamental decency that you can reach out and sort of touch their hand with. They're utterly cynical, utterly malicious if necessary.
I don't think people realise.
No, they don't realise how bad we are. And when I went on Newsnight and told Emily Maitlis that we had been bottom of this poll, the European Broadcasting poll, they go to every country in Europe, they ask 1,000 people, what is your trust in printed media? And we have been bottom for something like 10, 15 years, except for 1 year, James, when we were last but one.
Let joy be unconfined.
Slight improvement. But people don't realise how awful our papers are, and I go on saying so, but I do, because the second reason, as Stephen gave, is that if they are nasty to me, I can score off them. I mean, when Piers Morgan said to me, when are you going to be, what did he say? When are you going to be funny again, Cleese? It's been a long time. And I said, when are you going to be talented? It's been a lifetime. Now, once you've done that to somebody once, they are a little more careful next time.
They don't come back.
So the fact that I can strike back has kind of totally diffused all the fear that I used to have of all the horrible things they say about you.
Gosh. I mean, traditionally people are supposed to claim that they never read the crits or they never allow this stuff to touch them. They're too thick-skinned. I never believe anyone.
No, I think you're absolutely right. It's all a pretense because when people are nasty about you, I don't think there are many people, or maybe the Dalai Lama, but
have you worked together? Have you worked with the Dalai Lama ever?
Yes, I have interviewed the Dalai Lama, and I tell you, he's not used to being interrupted.
To begin at the beginning, it's odd because one of the themes that comes up quite a lot on this series is how near the child is to the surface of the adult, how that mischief and childlike glee and joy in things is still present in the adult. And you're a fascinating man because clearly that sense of mischief and childlike pleasure in things has remained very near the surface.
Well, it's very interesting you mentioned that, but when I was writing those books with Robin Skinner, it was a remarkable psychiatrist, he said that there's sort of 3 components to our personality. There's the wise man or woman who comes along not very often. And then there's the functional adult who gets everything done and pays the bills. You see what I mean? And has a bit of fun. And then there's the child, and the childish part of us, or the childlike part of us, is where all the wonder is, where all the excitement of discovery and finding you didn't know this and that this is actually, all that is. And I think what happens is as people get older, some of them start feeling they've got to pretend they know it all. And that they, that they know it all, and also that they need to be dignified. I don't know what the point of dignity is. My wife and I have decided to abandon it. We were staying in Raffles Hotel in Singapore in January to get some sun, and the staff loved us because they'd never seen an 82-year-old man hiding behind a pillar in order to jump out at his work. And if you have fun, and it is, I would say, childlike rather than childish.
Yes.
You have all that range of human personality that disappears when you decide that you're old and dignified and pompous.
So never, I mean, it's never going to happen now. If you were going to embrace dignified pomposity, I think you would have done so.
Left it late.
You would have done so already.